Welcome to Surespan. Today's Surespan Group grew out of a young couple's vision and entrepreneurial spirit. Vivian and Nigel Bester started the Surespan story in 1977 when Nigel built his first bridge at Kingscombe Inlet. The company began its success by erecting bridges in remote and environmentally sensitive areas throughout British Columbia, and quickly established itself as a leading specialist in bridge supply and construction. Within a few decades, and over 5,000 permanent and portable bridges later, the company has grown into the Surespan group of companies, including Surespan Construction, Structures, Power, Wind Energy Services, ReadyMix, and JLG Contracting. With offices and projects from coast to coast, the Surespan Group's success has been no coincidence. Its ability to continuously bring innovation and commitment and exceed its clients' expectations for service and quality is what has made the Surespan Group a recognized leader and growing success. However, hazards that could lead to injury exist on all Surespan sites. Please pay careful attention to the following video. You can always avoid an injury, but recovering from one is not guaranteed. As a worker, you have the following rights: the right to know, the right to participate, and the right to refuse unsafe work. Surespan understands that all workers have a right to a safe and healthy work environment and the importance of proactively dealing with health and safety issues, hazards, and conditions in all areas of our work. We are also dedicated to implementing health and safety solutions, practices, procedures, and recommendations that are reasonable and practical for our workers, subcontractors, and clients. All new employees must undertake the Surespan and site-specific safety orientation prior to commencing work and comply with all health and safety training requirements. Subcontractors must show proof of training for their employees and provide any requested health and safety information. You will begin your day by completing a field-level hazard assessment, FLHA, identifying your tasks for the day, the hazards associated with those tasks, and plans to remove or manage the hazards. You will complete an FLHA individually or as a group, provided each member participates and signs the FLHA. Once completed, the FLHAs must be reviewed and signed by a supervisor prior to commencing work. If new activities are assigned to you during the course of the workday, the FLHA must be reviewed, updated, and reapproved by a supervisor. Every worker is required by law to hold a valid certificate of Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System training. If you do not have a valid WHMIS training certificate, you must arrange for this training with your supervisor prior to commencing work on site. The best advice for handling your daily tasks is to remain cautious. One of the leading causes of injuries is complacency resulting from repetitive tasks. When continuously performing one task, always remain focused on your task and keep in mind the hazards associated with your task. The following personal protective equipment, or PPE, is mandatory on all Surespan sites: industry standard hard hats, footwear, and high visibility and weather-appropriate apparel. Certain equipment such as safety glasses, protective gloves, hearing protection, and respiratory protection could be required depending on the activity and hazards present. Specific trades will also require additional or specialized PPE gear. While Surespan will build fall restraint systems on its sites, workers should always be mindful and use fall protection PPE when working at or above regulated heights. You are responsible for ensuring your PPE is in good condition and report any defective, damaged, or worn gear and equipment to your supervisor so that it may be fixed or replaced. Surespan's Environmental Health and Safety Program provides an overview and step-by-step instructions on how to safely perform tasks or handle equipment from start to finish. You should review relevant practices and procedures with your supervisor before undertaking a new task. To ensure that this policy is effective, Follow the work-safe practices outlined in the manual at all times. You should only operate equipment and tools you are trained and authorized to use. Do not use and report any equipment or tools that are damaged or defective, and immediately report faults to your supervisor. Many serious injuries on site can occur around lifting and hoisting operations and heavy equipment. Areas around these operations are restricted, and entering restricted zones is a serious violation, safety risk, and hazard. In addition, mobile equipment operators can have their vision and hearing obstructed by elements of their equipment. Always wait to make eye contact with either the operator or spotter, and do not approach mobile equipment until you are given an okay to do so. Always be cautious of the swing radius of lifting equipment. Fall protection, overhead utilities, pile driving, and confined spaces. These work activities have an elevated potential for serious injury resulting from unsafe work practices. Falls from openings or heights can result in serious injury. If there is a risk of falling, you must comply with your worksite's fall protection requirements, training, and site-specific safe work practices. If you are unsure of your worksite's fall protection requirements, ask your supervisor or Surespan health and safety representative. When working around power lines or underground utilities, you must work within the regulations of your local site regarding limits of approach. Speak to your supervisor or safety representative to find out about your site-specific legislation. In addition, you must be a certified electrical worker to undertake any work that involves electricity. Make sure all electricity sources are isolated, grounded, and/or locked out, and consult and follow the relevant safe work procedures prior to working with electricity. Pile driving work can often be hazardous due to the amount of heavy equipment, cranes, fall zones, and crew involved. Because of higher noise levels, workers are required to use hearing protection, and fall protection gear must be worn when working at or above regulated heights. It is critical that no person stand between the crane and pile leads or walk under suspended loads. Only workers who are trained on or familiar with the hazards of pile driving are allowed in the work area. Always be aware of the bite, potential pinch, and crush points, and follow all safety work practices and procedures concerning working around equipment, fall protection, and hoisting. Workers must complete a confined space entry course prior to working in confined spaces. Workers must comply with a confined space entry plan. You should always be mindful of the limitations of your surroundings and have an exit plan. Surespan is committed to implementing environmental management practices and will work to ensure that impact to the environment is minimized and/or prevented at our work sites. All our work sites have designated areas for refuse, hazardous materials, as well as equipment and servicing areas. Poor housekeeping not only negatively impacts the environment, but is a leading cause of slips, trips, and falls. It is your responsibility to keep your work areas clean and tidy. If you see a housekeeping hazard, address it. Don't let the poor practices of others result in injury. Always properly store and label all hazardous materials. Clean up any debris and ensure exits and areas with emergency equipment is clear of obstacles and easily accessible. Before commencing operations on a work site, Surespan will gather information that will be incorporated into the work area's emergency response plan or emergency response program. You will receive site-specific orientation on your site's plan or program and local regulations. In the event of an emergency, you are required to follow the plan or program. While on site, you must take note of your changing surroundings and obey all posted signs. You must operate in accordance with the values and high integral standards embodied by Surespan. As each Surespan company operates in specific environments and conditions, you must understand the rules, policies, and regulations associated with your specific site and activity. You are required to know the area of your work site, including where emergency evacuation muster areas and first aid stations are located. Surespan operates under a three-part disciplinary program comprising of verbal warnings, written warnings, and a suspension and/or termination. Blatant disregard for documented policies, rules, procedures, and practices may result in your immediate removal from the site. Surespan has a strict drug and alcohol policy. Employees are expected to arrive to work fit and able to perform their responsibilities. Non-adherence to our policies, theft and bullying or harassment are subject to investigation, disciplinary action, and may be grounds for immediate removal and termination. While office environments are not exposed to the same level of hazards as site, employees should always be mindful of hazards. Safety, regardless of what type of work or location, applies to all employees. Returning to work following an injury can often be the most critical component of your recovery. The Return to Work program is designed to help you best handle the transition. It is Surespan's policy to provide meaningful and suitable return to work and light-duty task opportunities for workers who are unable to perform their regular assigned duties following a work-related injury or illness. Inspections and reporting are important mechanisms for identifying potential and existing hazards. Everyone at Surespan is expected to report incidents and near misses, so that incident investigations can be undertaken by health and safety personnel. The Surespan Group is committed to promoting and maintaining a culture of safe productivity. This requires contribution, dedication, and commitment on all our parts. If you are not clear on any component of the environment, health, and safety program or site-specific requirement, or would like to know more, speak with your supervisor or health and safety representative. Safety, it's a sure thing.